Start recording. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday's webinar with Annika Digital. It's myself and Stanley hosting today. I've got two lovely guests with me. I've got Rajal and Angela from Annika Digital. They're going to introduce themselves in a minute. We're going to be covering digital networking, and they've got some great tips and advice. It's going to be a bit of a discussion because, as you'll see in a minute, Rajal is one of the guys in one of the account managers in client services, and Ange is head of new business. So both these girls do lots of networking. And so what we're going to do is, instead of doing some polls, I've asked everybody if they could put their details in the chat, a little bit about yourselves. And then that means that people can grab the information, grab the name, and if they want to contact you afterwards, that would be great. If anybody notices somebody and they missed it, if you contact us afterwards, we can get that information. The assumption is if you're sharing it here, you're happy for those details to be shared to other people in the room. It doesn't show in the video. So just to let you know, it doesn't show the video. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Ange first to introduce herself, and then Rajal, who will then take over and introduce herself and start the presentation. So I'm going to turn my camera off, and I will reappear when we get to one of the discussion points towards the end. So good luck, Rajal. I'll speak to you in a minute.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm Angela Padfield. People call me Ange, and I've been in business development within the marketing sector for around about 14 years. I started working with Annika back in October, which was my first sale, because I rang Anne up and I said, "It's your lucky day. I'm giving you first opportunity to give me a job." So I sold myself there. That was fun. It worked, so I'm here. That's a little bit about me. I'll pass you on to Rajal.
That was short and sweet. Hi, everybody. I am Rajal Prajapat. I am part of the client services team here at Annika Digital. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself in just a second, but today I'll be talking to you about the new face of digital networking. How has networking evolved to digital networking as a result of the pandemic? And I'll be talking to you about how to make the most of your digital networking event when you eventually get there. So without further ado, I'll press on. So here's just a quick agenda of what we'll be going through, so you know what to expect. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, talk a little bit about what business networking is, what digital networking is, what you need to know, or what some useful hints and tips about attending a digital networking event. We'll talk about preparing an elevator pitch, monitoring your results, some presentation tips that you might find useful, and also how you're going to find the right digital networking event for yourself to attend. And then we'll end with some top tips for online networking. So I hope you find all of this information useful. And as Anne mentioned, if you have got any questions, don't hesitate. Drop them in the chat box and we'll get them answered as we go along. So yes, I am Rajal Prajapat. I am part of the client services team here at Annika Digital. I have been with the company for 7 years. Time flies when you're with Annika. And I've worked in the digital landscape for over 10 years now. And that's both on the sales and the account management side. So I've worked doing similar to what Angie has done, and then I evolved naturally into managing the accounts of the clients here at Annika. So I'm their go-to person to help clients make sure everything runs smoothly. I have a degree in international business management, which I loved doing that degree. It was fantastic. I am a mummy of 2 boys, 2 crazy little boys. And when I'm not attending to their needs, I enjoy swimming and baking and binging on the latest box set, none of which I've been able to do recently. So, but that is what I like to do when I have a bit of time. So moving on, what is business networking? We're obviously all here today, which means that we have been networking before, or if it is your first experience in networking, hopefully I can give you a little bit more insight on how to prepare yourselves. So essentially, business networking is the process of establishing a mutually beneficial relationship with other business people, potential clients or customers. And there's huge benefits by doing this. There's the opportunity to achieve gains that are made by communicating with other professionals relating to your industry. And it's a case of exchanging information, seeking knowledge, communicating with like-minded people. So you'll come across people in our situation who are looking for marketing services. Depending on the industry that you're in, you'll be looking for people to either purchase your product or purchase your service. By networking, you'll have the opportunity to expand your pool of contacts. So collect business cards, meet similar businesses or relating businesses to yourself as well. By networking, you'll also have the opportunity to improve your personal and your business profile. So the more events that you attend, you'll become more recognizable as a local business person. You'll build a profile, and people will start to associate you with the service that you have to offer. And I know Anne gets that everywhere she goes. So yeah, you'll become recognizable for the services that you offer and the support that you can provide locally as well. It also will give you the opportunity to build brand awareness, whether that's for your own business that you're representing or whether it be for a large organization that you're working for. You're out there and you're talking about your company, you're talking about your brand, and you're building on that brand locally. So you promote the company you work for and what you do, and it's an opportunity to market yourself and the services that you do. Most importantly, it's an opportunity to generate leads, get referrals, look for partnerships. If you're looking for a joint venture as well, it's a brilliant way to find other organizations that work locally to you, and find out how you might be able to partner together. And as well as that, generate business opportunities for you. So everybody at a networking event has an objective in mind. I'll talk a little bit more about objectives and what they might be in just a second, but ultimately it's to do business, get your company's name out there, meet like-minded individuals, and generate business opportunities. Just bear with me a second. So why do we network? We've talked about the great benefits that we offer, but why do we network? So networking provides a platform for local businesses to meet and exchange ideas, sell their products and services. When we network, we have an objective in mind. So you've taken the time to find the event, you've taken the time to attend the event. You want to get something out of this, and you want to make sure whatever it is that you get out of the event is valuable to yourself, whatever your objective is. So when you attend, you need to think about, how important is networking for you? What does it mean for our business? How reliant are we on branding ourselves through networking, or how reliant are we on generating leads through networking? Everybody has an end goal, an objective. It's a tangible or intangible eventual result that they're looking to achieve by being part of a networking event. You might be looking to generate business leads. You want to sell your product or service. You want to develop a business partnership. As we mentioned, you might be looking for a sponsor or some venture capital. It's an opportunity to help your business and other business owners as well to work together. There is also a great opportunity to share connections. So as you attend these events, you might meet business personnel, business people with organizations and services that you think, you know what, this is fantastic, but this is of no use to me. It's not going to work for me. When you attend a networking event, there's a kind of a mutual understanding that you share contacts, you recommend people to one another, even if you're not going to use their services. When you do this, when you attend the networking events, you keep your objective in mind. What is your measure of success? So achieving this objective by networking can take time. That's one thing you do need to keep in mind with networking. Your objectives don't always turn around overnight, but as we've seen, there's some huge benefits with networking. Your objectives might be short-term, or that they might be long-term. Short-term objectives are things like, when you attend the networking events, how many business cards or connections do you want to make through LinkedIn or Facebook? How many inquiries do you want to achieve, which might be more of an in-depth goal as well? Or do you want to count the number of event attendances? Whatever your objective is, do keep that in mind, and focus on how you're going to keep that at the forefront of your mind, how you're going to achieve that when you're at the event. So there's a range of different type of events. And now I've broken these down into 3 different sections here. And when you attend event, you want to make sure you attend the right event for you. This might reflect on the size of your business. It might depend on how many inquiries you're looking to achieve, or the kind of audience you want to reach. As you attend more and more events, you'll learn which ones work better for you. So firstly, I've broken them down into the business seminars. So these tend to be conferences, exhibitions, seminars that take place. They tend to be full or half-day events, and they have a breakout session or a networking session. It might be a speed networking or a round table. It offers you a pitch opportunity, which is brilliant. And I will talk to you a little bit about preparing your pitch in just a little bit later on. Most of the attendees at the business seminars, they have an immediate objective in mind, and they'll be open to building more formal business relationships with you. So it's a great way if you have a focused objective and if you're looking to meet more professional, larger organizations and do business with them. We've then got the professional associations. Now, these are slightly different. They tend to be professional bodies, organizations or societies within a specific industry. So lawyers, accountants, IT professionals, property specialists, more industry specific vertical organizations. They're more formal events, which may require a member status to attend. They tend to be referral groups. So they do look for you to either invite more people to join the group, and they do sometimes monitor how much business is shared. I've put a couple down there. We've got the local bid. So wherever you're located across the UK, there will be a local organisation to you, and I'll talk to that helps local businesses. I'll talk to you about the local bid in just a second as well. Chamber of Commerce and the BNI, all of which Annika are part of and work really well for us for networking and generating business as well. Then finally, we've got the general networking groups. So these are an opportunity to help businesses to receive assistance from other organisations. These groups tend to be a lot more casual, and they tend to have a broader range of clientele attending. They're less structured, they're more sociable, and you can be found on less professional platforms. So you can use sites like Meetup, social media sites, or networking directories tend to list a lot of these organisations. They're very social, kind of a happy hour, after hours social drinks type of environment. The more fun ones, I can see Angie nodding there, so they're the ones that you can tell she enjoys those ones. But, they're local groups, they're general, or they can be industry specific. They're like-minded professionals who have a business goal in mind, but again, they're willing to work with many different industries. Membership isn't always required, and like I said, because they're being so general, you can look forward to meeting many different types of people at these events. Angie, have you, which one of these do you think work well for yourself, or what do you prefer?
I think they've all got their place, Rajal. The BNI, for example, that's really very structured, and it's a big commitment. But at the same time, you tend to find that more referrals, more business passes over the table. The local bid I'm a fan of because it tends to incorporate a lot of independent businesses, and I'm a big fan of independents supporting each other. Your exhibitions, the expos, I think they're fantastic because you've got your shop window there, and you're there with a lot of other events. You're there to try and help people, because if you give business, you're more likely to gain business. But with an expo, you're literally there pitching and selling, which is what I love. That's what I do for a living. And then the local groups, in the virtual world, you can dip in and out of them. So if you've got a really busy day and you can't make it, you're not a member, you're not expected. But if you've got time, you can make some fantastic new connections. So they've all got their place, all fun, all fab.
Yeah, absolutely. That's good to hear. And I like the sound of, like you mentioned, the local groups. You can dip in and out because it's less pressure. And when you're running, especially a small or medium-sized organization, you don't always have the time to invest a full day to attend a conference or take time out of your working day to attend a working professional lunch. As fabulous as it sounds and as great as they can be, sometimes you'd prefer to meet a local group with like-minded people after hours and just have a drink and share ideas, and that's what people find works well. So yeah, each of them have their own benefits, but ultimately are designed in the same way to share business ideas, provide support, and generate business, whatever that might be for them. Just moving on. So, how has networking changed in 2021? So, come 2020, lockdown 1 hit overnight, more or less. Nobody expected it. Thinking back now, it was a shock to the system. We didn't know what to expect. All events, seminars, and networking was immediately cancelled. There was no way to progress forward. People couldn't meet one-to-one, let alone groups of 10 or 15 or more. The focus was for businesses was to react or survive the economic changes. There wasn't the opportunity to think, right, what are we going to do about our networking events? Unless you worked in the events industry, businesses were focusing mainly on how are we going to get through this year? How are we going to meet our current orders, create more orders? What's going to happen to our supply chain? So because there was no focus on networking events, seminars, or generating business, the main problem was the lack of leads that were being generated, and it caused a huge decline in business growth. There was a loss of leads generated through the introduction at events like this. So a drop in supply chain, a lack of live business events meant there was no opportunity to connect. There was an increase in demand. This was at a time when business owners and managers needed to get advice and support from other colleagues. So although networking events are great for selling your product and promoting your service, what is also provided there is the opportunity to provide support and advice and share ideas. How are people getting through it? What are you doing to survive? And organizations, small, medium organizations, felt very, very helpless, and they lacked control over the changing circumstances. So events industries, they had to very, very quickly adapt from the traditional face-to-face method to a new virtual method to help lead generation and to allow businesses to try and continue as normal as what would be as possible. And that's where digital networking came up. So that's where we moved from there, the opportunity to network, but on a digital scale. So I'll tell you a little bit about what happened with digital networking. So what is digital networking? So digital networking is the method of networking that has been adjusted to help grow business relationships through the use of online communication channels. It's a bit of a formal explanation of it there, but essentially that's what it is. It's networking that's events that are hosted and conducted through online channels. At the start of the pandemic, event professionals everywhere, they scrambled to pivot to virtual events. They were looking for software, reliable methods, researching on how to plan a virtual conference. There were huge conferences, that entailed 500 or 600 people a day that had to be cut. That's obviously a lot of money gone to waste, but they needed a replacement, a quick and efficient replacement. So event professionals, they did what they do best, and they found a way to push events forward. However, this doesn't mean the end. However, this does not mean virtual events will be replacing the in-person experience. And that's where we are at the moment. The in-person experience and the virtual events, each of which have their pros and cons. So we've got the efficiency. So in terms of efficiency, digital events, they're less time consuming. You can jump on your computer and have your networking event. You haven't got to travel to and from. You don't have to take the whole day out of the event. Then they have a lunch break, and then I have breaks and such, depending on how long the event is. Digital events also allow more structure. When you attend a face-to-face networking event, you tend to go in, there's an introduction, there's a free flow of open networking. However, with digital networking, there's less direct contact with potential relationships that you meet there. The objective is considered the same through online networking or face-to-face: build relationships, share contacts, and generate new business. How have you found online networking, Angie, since the pandemic?
I've done loads of it, and you can get to do more because you haven't got that travel time. And also, what you tend to find when you go to an in-person networking event is that you might gravitate to people that you already know.
Yeah.
Whereas in an online networking environment, you would be put into breakout rooms, and so they're forcing you with people you might not know, which means you're creating more connections than maybe you would in person. When you do, if you were to go to a BNI meeting, for example, they're usually at 6:30 in the morning, Raj. So
Rather you than me.
yeah, I mean, it's up at 5 and traveling to a venue to have your breakfast, etc. I prefer that one online, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also when you when you're online, you can get everybody's name and company name. So then afterwards you can link in with them, and connect with them on LinkedIn, which you can't really necessarily get around a whole room at an in-person networking event. So there's definitely benefits.
Good, yeah. And I agree what you mean. When you attend a face-to-face event, especially if you're new to networking, there's always that very awkward moment where you enter the room and you've signed in, you're like, okay, where should I go? What should I do? And people, like you said, they tend to cluster with people that they've seen at other events. The more events that you attend, the more people you recognize, and you tend to gravitate towards them. And then there's the new person that's attended and who try to break in that conversation. It's difficult. It's awkward. And I promise you,
it can be awkward, yeah.
Yeah, if you're new to networking, you get used to it, and it becomes second nature, and you're a lot more comfortable. I can imagine Angie just going in and talking to everybody now.
Well, you say that, but you know what? Before I enter a room in networking, I've got in my head some form of icebreaker or conversation starter before I go in, because at the minute, a lot of conversations start on the old COVID, sort of what's happening with COVID. But it's good to have the topic to go in with, just to prepare yourself in case you sort of breaking into a conversation, freeze a bit, So it's good to get an icebreaker in your back pocket.
Absolutely, yeah. Maybe something not COVID related to change up conversation.
Yeah, it's getting a bit boring now, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So in terms of the new networking, which is more of a hybrid approach, there has been some research that's been done by some top event marketers to talk about really what is the future of networking. So what we found is that networking events, seminars and exhibitions, they will move to a more hybrid approach. And this is a case of combining the regular face-to-face events with online events to help reach a wider audience. So you might expect to go to a networking event that you would meet maybe a local pub or a hired venue, and this will then be streamed to an online audience as well, which is brilliant because it makes networking more national and less regional. So we've got here, you can see 68% of event marketers reported that a hybrid solution that can manage both virtual and in-person events will play a key role in the 2020 and 2021 event strategies. So it just shows that there is going to be a hybrid solution moving forward, and 98% of event professionals do not believe that virtual events will replace the in-person events. I guess what this means is that although digital events have proven to be hugely successful and bridge that gap that the pandemic caused, research shows that the face-to-face formal events are still in demand and are still proven to have huge levels of success, which is great because I think face-to-face business networking, generating businesses, is the best way. We can see here the data that I've got over here. It shows a few pros and cons of virtual network and ultimately why the traditional face-to-face events will continue to happen with that hybrid approach. So 63% of organizations are moving towards moving digital conferences to a more digital conference or event. We can got here as well, 68% of event marketers reported that a hybrid solution that can manage both virtual and in-person events will play a key role in the 2020 and 2021 event strategies. So it's going to be used moving forward. More than half of organisations increasing the number of webinars they produce, which is great because you can share the webinars online afterwards as well. So those people who can't attend, it makes it available for them. So over half of event marketers are challenged by the logistics of virtual events and believe that virtual events require a different set of skills and resources. And 53% of event marketers believe it is more difficult to create a unique and memorable experience for attendees, although virtual events in comparison to in-person events. Through virtual events in comparison to in-person events. So what that's saying there is that although we're going to have the hybrid solution moving forward, the huge benefits of the face-to-face events that we've reaped the benefits for so many years, we're missing those. It's complicated. It can be complicated if you don't have the resources to put together a digital event. And there is a demand for people to meet face-to-face. We're losing human interaction. People are starting to miss that. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to going to my next hybrid event as soon as possible. Oh, bear with me a second. So, like I mentioned, what does this mean for the online future of networking? It will make networking less local and more national with less regional limitations. So for example, Angie, like yourself, you have a local networking event. If there's someone in Scotland who's interested in doing business at Leicester, it'll be easier for them to meet you at these events. Yeah. We've also got the chat facilities such as Zoom, which allows you to have the breakout rooms and give attendees the opportunity to cluster together and network with focus groups. And that just goes back to what Angie said. You're kind of forced to communicate with a group that you normally wouldn't gravitate towards. And then we've got the elevator pitch. So normally when you go to a networking event, like I said, face-to-face events, they can sometimes be less structured unless you go to a speed networking event or a round table event. The opportunity to pitch isn't always there. So with a digital event, it's a great opportunity to deliver your pitch to an engaged audience. And this opportunity isn't always available at a face-to-face networking event. So it offers it for you there. I'm just going to click through. So attending a digital event, now we know the benefits of attending these events. What are you going to get out of it and how you're going to make it great for yourself? The main thing that you want to focus on is making sure that you find the right event for you. There are hundreds, thousands of events taking place month on month around the UK. And you want to make sure that you find the right one for you. You want to make sure you don't keep on attending the same events and make yourself as available as possible. So your time is valuable. You're taking the time to go to the events. What you want to start by doing is invest your time wisely. Spend some time searching for the right event to meet your objectives. I touched on that a little bit earlier on, but what is it that you ultimately want to achieve? Do you just want to focus on branding, getting the company that you work for, their name out there and talking a little bit about the services, hoping that someone might eventually get back in contact with you one day? Are you looking for hard, fast leads? Do you want to make contact with someone that's got an immediate requirement? Or are you looking just to get some advice, find some support? Are you a small business owner and you're facing a problem? You want to learn how other business owners deal with these issues. So when you look for these events, you want to make sure that you join and you subscribe to industry-specific networking groups and blog sites and general sites as well. You also want to make sure that you join member groups as well, because they sometimes have a more qualified audience and they can provide more high quality leads. Sign up to seminars, newsletters, exhibitions. A lot of the time when you sign up to newsletters and exhibitions, they will continuously invite you to events that you may not always be aware of. So it keeps you in the loop and keeps you aware. What's also brilliant are social media platforms. So everyone's got a Facebook and a LinkedIn, which is brilliant. So on your Facebook and your LinkedIn accounts, join groups that you haven't found before. It's literally a case of going into the search toolbar and typing in business networking events Leicester, or marketing networking events Leicester, construction networking events Leicester. Select the events option there and find out what you can get, find out what you can see from there. When you join these groups, contribute regularly. And when I say contribute regularly, what that allows you to do is then be found in conversation and as part of the stream. It also shows that you're an active user, and someone that's more reliable, again, maximizing your business presence and your business profile. And I've also mentioned their search for industry specific and general groups as well. So don't limit yourself to your industry. One thing that is important is make sure that your social media profile is up to date. The last thing you want to do is have a dated social media profile that's slightly inactive. So you want to show that you're posting regularly, you're communicating regularly, and I'll touch a little bit more about that in just a second. Another way you can find the right event for you is through general networking sites like Meetup and like Eventbrite. So they're booking sites. And then there's professional associations, so chartered institutes, societies, certified professional organizations as well. One thing to keep in mind is that there may not be the perfect event with the exact audience for you, but as you start to attend more and more events and you build relationships with associates in similar industries, these people will start to recommend events, they'll recommend groups, and they'll recommend networks that will be of interest to you as well. So you might be attending a networking event that is completely opposite industry to you, but there's always the possibility, as you see people more often, you build your profile and they will trigger if they meet someone who's going to, or they meet an event that's going to be useful to you. How have you found that on your side, Angie? I saw you nodding.
Definitely industry events, because in some of the groups that I'm part of, I sort of gravitate towards people that are in a similar industry to me, not necessarily marketing, but for example, web developers and photographers and creative design businesses. So they're people that are much more likely to give me leads and referrals than, say, an accountant or a solicitor. And it goes for any trade. So if you're in the building trade and you're a plumber, you're more likely to recommend an electrician or a tailor, or so definitely industry specific does tend to increase the number of leads that you get.
Absolutely. Good. That's good to hear. Just making yourself as available as possible, really, and replying to conversation is great. So I just wanted to touch a little bit about your social media profile, because depending on how active you are, I mean, I'm not hugely active always on social media, but it is important, and the importance of keeping your social media profile up to date. It really does reflect how you're seen and how you're perceived by your audience, because your social media profile is usually the first Google result on Google that shows when someone searches for you. So they've met you at an event, they remember your name, they might not remember the name of your business, so they will Google you, and more than likely your social media profile appears first. So think of it as your personal brand. It might be your own business you're working for, it might be an organization you're representing, but outside of that, you still have your own personal profile, your own brand that you want to focus on. So just a couple of hints for social media. Make sure you have a clear profile picture of yourself so people can identify you. You know, it's great having the wedding shot or the shot at the pub, that's brilliant. But just make sure it's a clear image. Make sure that you have an updated bio of yourself, where you're currently working. If it is a business profile that you're hosting, if it, for example, on LinkedIn, make sure that you explain what it is that you have to offer, how you can help, what problem your business solves, and make sure more than anything that there is an opportunity that you can highlight how potential interest can contact you, whether it be directly through Facebook, contact you through LinkedIn, make your email address available as well. It's all about, you're making the effort to go out there. You want to make it as easy as possible to someone to be able to find you as well. When they find you, they want to be able to make contact with you. Also, when you're using social media, like I mentioned, sign up to events on Facebook, on LinkedIn, any industry-specific social media networks that you might be part of as well. Sign up to the events list, the mailing list, and make sure you're updated regularly about what's happening there. Join groups, build communications. When I say build communications, you want to make sure you converse with people regularly, share valuable, relevant content. So if you have seen a news article that you find interesting, ideally make it relevant to the group, but if not, you still find it interesting, share it. Post engaging content regularly, informative content regularly. And when you post that content, share it with other people. When you see other people's content, like it, follow it, and share it. And what that does, it just makes you more viral. Use hashtags and buzzwords, and what that allows you to do is then just make sure that you're being found in conversation with other people who are looking for the same solution, or who are looking or interested in the same topic that you're talking about. So when you do post as well, because it is a social network and it's more personal to you, you still want to make it personal. It doesn't have to always be very, very corporate. And like I mentioned, comment and engage in other people's posts. If you find them interesting, ask a question. One thing to do is just make sure that you keep conversation very generic, because you're talking from a business perspective. You do want to avoid any controversial topics. You don't want to be the person to, make that controversial topic a highlight, and engage with your audience. If somebody likes your comment or likes your post, or shares it, then thank them for it, engage with them, find out why they found it interesting, and find out what their business is. So there's many different ways that you can use social media to enhance your personal profile, but you just want to make sure you use it as correctly as you possibly can. So now, when you attend a digital networking event, what can you expect? So digital networking events, they tend to be more structured than the traditional events. Unless you attended a roundtable meeting or a speed networking event, traditional events have an introduction, they have an opportunity to network freely around a room without any kind of limitation. Now, when you invite people to a networking event like we have today, it's difficult to network to an open room and share conversation without talking over one another digitally. So they tend to have a common agenda. You can expect to have an introduction. There'll be a guest speaker, me, and then or a presentation by somebody. And a presentation is a great way to encourage people to attend. So sign up to events that you can learn something from, and then possibly share that knowledge. So if you attend a networking event, there is a presentation, and you think the information is really useful, share that knowledge. A lot of the time there are breakout sessions. And with breakout sessions, we're talking about small groups of attendees that attend these organizations. And it's a great way of keeping participants interested with short bursts of information. There is always a pitch opportunity. So with a pitch opportunity, I mentioned the elevator pitch to you. So take advantage of an opportunity to present what it is that you do. It's a great way to market your solution to an engaged audience. Also, it will add value to your personal profile. So it will also build on your presentation and your confidence skills. So it'll put you in a bit of an area that you're not comfortable with, but ultimately you're building on your skill set. So an opportunity to highlight and spotlight the services that you have, and what your business can offer, or how you can help and support is brilliant. Book into a speaking slot if you have an opportunity. It's a great way of educating a wider audience and spotlighting exactly what it is that you do. Angie, how have you found attending events that do have a pitch opportunity, or an opportunity to present your services?
Yeah, great. You're just educating the captive audience in the networking group as to what you do. Bit of advice though is that keep it simple and use layman's terms, because if there's a lot of jargon in our industry, isn't there? But people in other industries don't necessarily understand what, for example, SEO means, or GA. So it's just trying to get that, educate the audience in layman's terms as to how you can help them. And it's not always the people in the room that are listening to the pitch that need your services, but they've got a whole network of people around them that may need your services, and that'll trigger them to think, what Angie's just said, Mr. Smith at X company, they need that. They were saying the other day. So that's the opportunity, Rajal. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, it sounds good. I remember attending events and being able to just talk about the services that you offer and how interested people can be, and the turnaround as well. So we'll talk a bit about the turnaround a little bit later on. But now you've found the event, you're going to go to the event, you know what to expect. Oh, bear with me a second, just get to that next slide. You want to make the most of your opportunity while you're there. We got there. So you get to the event and you want to make the most. So what I would suggest is when you signed up, prepare. Research the group. If it is industry specific, it's a new group. Find out who you think might be attending. There might be a LinkedIn group, so see who the regular attendees of the event will be. Is there a breakout session? Is there an opportunity to pitch when you get to these events? So that way, when you've got an idea in mind of what to expect, you're more prepared. And we know, it's human nature. When you're more prepared, you can handle anything. So yeah, find out what it is that is going to happen at this event. Again, keep in mind your objective. What do you want to get out of attending there? If it is a more social event and you just want to have a chat with people in a business environment, then that's fantastic. But if you want to think about, right, this is my 4th networking event of the month. How many LinkedIn connections have I made? How many business cards have I counted this month? What do I want to get out of this attending here? When you go to the event, attend the event online, the other thing you want to do is spotlight the value that you bring, the problem that you solve, or the service that you offer. How are you going to help these people that are attending this event? So make sure that there is an opportunity. If you don't have the opportunity to pitch, or if you're not presenting, think about how you're going to solve, how you're going to have the opportunity to talk about what it is that you offer. Keep in mind what you're looking for as well. So although you might be looking to generate business leads, is there anything that you're looking to support your business? Is there a service out there that you're looking for? Do you need a marketing service, some HR support, or do you just need some advice on a recent business problem that you've had? Keep in mind what you're looking for. Be memorable. So, I'm not saying go and wear a silly hat or anything, but be memorable. Speak to as many people as possible. Ask questions. Converse with as many people as possible. Make your time valuable. One thing that's key is share your business information. So don't be afraid to ask people, can I connect with you on LinkedIn? Or I will connect with you on LinkedIn. I'll find you on Facebook. How can I send you an email? Or, be forward. This is my email address. Because we're not in an environment now where we can exchange business cards, which was brilliant. You go to a networking event, you come out with 25 business cards and you know who to follow up. Unfortunately, you can't do that through a digital event. But what you can do is link in with everybody who has attended the event through the attendee list and make conversation with as many people as possible. Make new connections, as I mentioned, and offer to connect through LinkedIn and ask for a one-to-one meeting. Angie, do you want to explain what the industry term means for a one-to-one meeting?
Yeah, I don't know whether it's used in all networking, but
Okay.
When I ask for one-to-one, whatever networking I'm in, people seem to know what I mean. So I think it might be pretty much across the board. So one-to-one, when I'm on a Zoom virtual networking meeting, what's good is I can put in the chat, private chat to somebody in particular. And I say, do you fancy a one-to-one? I'd like to learn more about your business. And the idea is that you'd usually spend about 45 minutes to an hour. And in that time, it's broken up 50-50, where the person that you're meeting would be telling you all about their business and what would be a good referral for them. And then you would explain all about your business. And the more that you can tell them, because you've got much longer and it's one-to-one, so you can get to know that person much better. And you find out about their family, where they're going on holiday, and how their lockdown's been, of course. And you're just much more likely to get referrals of somebody that you've engaged with for a longer period in an official meeting capacity. So I tend to have about 3 a week through different networking groups. I'll spend 3 hours getting to know a business. And once I know, it's so much easy to get business for that company And once you've got business for that company, they're much more likely to give you business.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. You can't get business through networking overnight necessarily.
No.
Because you have to build that relationship.
Mm.
I did make one big mistake once, Raj, was I met somebody in a virtual networking event.
Yeah.
And then I heard from a client that they wanted to get an app designed.
Right.
And I made the connection and recommended this lady.
Yeah.
And as it happened, she didn't come across to my client very well at all. She hadn't done a research or any preparation before the call. So I learned my lesson through that. I really need to be able to trust and get to know businesses before I would recommend them to somebody. So it's not going to come straight away necessarily, but if you keep plugging on, you'll earn that trust in the other businesses in the room. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's a great piece of advice, Angie. Thank you for that. One thing you want to also do is prepare your pitch. And this is extremely valuable. So a pitch is or should we call the elevator pitch? The reason it's termed the elevator pitch, let's just say if you're in a hotel and Richard Branson got into the same elevator as you, would you be able to sell your business to him by the time he got to his floor? That's why I believe it's called an elevator pitch, but it's a short, persuasive statement or description that explains the product or the service that you offer. It's explained in a way that the listener can understand and gather the most important information in a short period of time and spark an interest in the solution that you have to offer. So it's short, concise. You will have an opportunity at most networking events to pitch your services in an elevator style pitch. It allows you to spotlight your offering to the engaged audience and allows you to have the opportunity to do this mostly at digital events. At traditional events, you would need to do a speaking spot from this. Let me just click through to the next slide. There we go. So how are you going to prepare for the elevator pitch? Introduce yourself. So you want to introduce yourself, introduce your company, and you want to introduce the role that you play in that company. So explain in one paragraph what it is that your company does, or articulate the possible problem in a clear way that you can explain exactly what it is that how you're going to be able to help. Also explain what you want, and don't forget to close with a call to action. So if you'd like more, so for example, a call to action is a reason for people to contact you and how to contact you. If you'd like more information on the services we offer, or would like to keep in touch, you can contact me by email or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. So you're going in with an introduction, talking about yourself in one paragraph, and then you're telling them how you can help or the service you offer, and then how they can contact you. It's short, it's concise, it should last 30 to 60 seconds, which is good, good for me because I can tend to ramble on. But what that allows you to do, it keeps the attention of your audience. So it gets people genuinely interested in what you're doing in a short, concise manner. Keep it interesting, make it relatable and memorable if you can. Highlight a USP and unique selling point of the service of that your business offers. Be clear on what you want to get out of attending this event. So, i.e., today I'm looking to make as many new connections as possible, or today I'm looking for someone who would be interested in HR services, or someone who would be interested in financial services. Spark curiosity, talk about something new if you have the opportunity to do something new that you've learned in your industry. Be ready for more questions. So if you've put it together right, you should get more questions afterwards. And also keep your pitch to 30 to 60 seconds. So you want to make sure that you don't ramble on and you keep it concise. And I'm going to drop you in the deep end here, Ange. I'm going to see if you can do as an Annika elevator pitch.
Oh my goodness, right, okay, let's give it a shot. Okay. Hello everyone, my name's Angie Padfield. I'm from Annika Digital. I work in business development. Annika Digital, what do we do? So we are a digital marketing agency where we find your target audience to bring relevant traffic across to your website so that we can create more leads, which in turn, hopefully will create more sales. So that's what we do. I'm looking to let you guys know all about a new algorithm that Google is putting into place in June, which is called the Core Web Vitals. And what you need to do is check that your website is ready and fit for purpose for this new algorithm coming in. So what I'll do is I'll pop my details in the chat. And if you'd like more information on that after the meeting, then just get in touch. Thank you, Angie from Annika Digital.
That was amazing. Fantastic. A great introduction. She explained what we do as a business, and then she added value by adding a piece of information that somebody wouldn't normally know, and then she gave a reason to get in touch, and then she again confirmed who she was at the end. So it's quite simple to put together. Practice it when you have an opportunity to do so. In the mirror if you have to. It's one of those things in the morning when you wake up before the event while you're brushing your teeth, give your elevator pitch a go. One thing I wanted to touch on as well is results. We're attending these events, we've made the time to attend, and we've put in the effort, we've prepared our pitch, we've made connections. What can we expect to achieve? So focus on connections and referrals. Consider what are your measurable results. Do you have an end value or a figure that you want to achieve in sales at the end of a 6-month period of attending networking events? Other results that you can monitor, set a goal or outcome for that particular event per event, number of business cards, number of LinkedIn connections, or look for a particular kind of person you want to have a meeting with afterwards or a one-to-one meeting with. Build relationships, connect with potential clients, connect with service providers through the existing clients. So you might be looking to say, right, I know everybody at this event, but I'm going to see who they can connect me with. Are you looking to just improve your personal or your business profile locally? Do you offer a service that people will need ad hoc throughout the year, and you just want to provide a reminder that you're still there? So promote your business as often as possible. That might be one of your results that you're looking to achieve. Or you might be looking to expand your list of contacts. So you just want to try and expand your Rolodex and make sure that you are in touch with as many people as possible. One thing I would say with networking events is don't be afraid to follow up. There might be someone who was at an event that you want to communicate with, you didn't get the opportunity. Don't feel shy. Connect with them on LinkedIn, find out their email address and message them. Hi, I saw you at the recent networking event, didn't have the opportunity to speak with you, but can I have 15 minutes of your time to tell you about X, Y, and Z? It doesn't have to be straight away. It might be a few months later, but don't be afraid to follow up. Angie can tell you a little bit about her experiences about following up on results from networking events.
Yeah, just an example, there was a networking event, and I was talking before about similar trades. So you're almost like a power group. So I was at a networking event and bumped into a guy from a company who is a web developer up in Loughborough. And I followed up, I had the one-to-one with him, and that sparked him to think, I have a client that I've designed their website where they would really it'd be valuable for them to have a digital marketing campaign from Annika. And then from there, we're now looking after his paid social media campaigns, all his Google AdWords and all his search engine optimization for 2 different businesses that he has. Yeah. So good result. Absolutely don't be afraid to follow up every time.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, do keep that in mind. So we've got you all prepared and you're at the event. A couple of tips that I wanted to touch on, a couple of areas I wanted to touch on are the presentation. So think about how you're presenting yourself as a person. All people will have to go on is your face on a computer screen. So before you go on the event, try not to use the webcam as a mirror to, finish the finishing touches to your hair and makeup. It's really easy to do, but you try and prepare in advance if you can. Keep your camera on, ideally at eye level or higher. I find that slightly difficult because I'm only 5 foot. But yes, if you can, you want to try and keep it eye level or higher. And what that does, it's stops that double chin effect if you need to. But prop up your laptop on something and experiment with conferencing apps before you go onto the call. So that's useful. I've propped up my laptop on 2 different things today, and I'm still a little bit lower than I wanted to be. Dress appropriately. So solid colours look great. Nude colours, you risk looking a little bit naked. So, you know, just like I said, prepare in advance. Joggers and polo shirts.
I've never thought of that, Raj.
Yeah,
I've never thought about it. Yeah,
yeah.
good
So
point.
it depends on your background. So if I'd had a nude colour and this wallpaper, don't know what that's going to look like. But this, so joggers and polo shirts aren't ideal, but then again, it depends on your audience. If you're doing a networking event for a fast fashion market audience, then you know it's ideal. Act as you would in person. So one of the reasons for keeping your camera on, so people can relate to you. Prepare your stage. Pick the right background for you. So don't keep it too busy or too distracting, and try and get the lighting as good as possible. Give yourself that flattering movie star quality, and do a dress rehearsal. So, you know, make sure that you're ready. This is just an example of how good or bad things can look. So, you know, you can make your own judgment on this. This is the G20 summit that took place in March 2020. Couple of things I want to highlight here. You will be seen if you're scrolling through your phone, you're hopping between screens, you're looking uninterested, and you have a distracting background. Pay attention, someone is going to notice. You can see Germany there on their mobile phone. You can tell Canada is scrolling through the phone like this. Italy isn't even there. So someone's going to see, everyone will notice. So, you know, you made the effort to get there. It's just a case of focusing. Now, you're all prepared and you're all ready. You want to make sure that you find the right networking for you. So a great way to start is a Google search. So go into Google and type in local business networking events, local financial service networking events. You could use networking directory websites as well. So I've listed a couple here: lovebusinessnetworking.co.uk and findnetworkingevents.com as well. And these are find networking events. You can find more local network events that are local to you. And these are directory sites, so they're not going to be industry specific, but thousands of events are listed here. You could also use booking platforms. So you have the directory sites who then sometimes might use the booking platforms. So Eventbrite, Meetup, these might be a bit more useful to you as well. LinkedIn and other social platforms. So as I mentioned, search for events, seminars, conferences through LinkedIn. Think about your colleagues. Have your colleagues been to events that have worked well for them? If it's worked well for them, don't be worried about finding a local replica or going to the same event. So ask contacts in your industry, internal colleagues as well. There might be also invitation-only events as well. So these can be specialist groups and member groups and membership societies that are you'll be invited to these based on your skills and your role in the industry. So make sure you take a look at these, and you'll find a huge abundance and a huge starting point of where to find a list of events as well. So we touched a little bit earlier on the BNI, the network as well. So BNI is more of a referral networking scheme. As Angie mentioned, they tend to have breakfast events at 6:30 in the morning, but you know, that's when some people are the most productive. They tend to have local groups, and they have a number of groups dotted around the same city. They do try to limit the number of service providers per chapter, and what that does, it just gives you exclusivity to the people that are attending. It is a paid membership, but again, like Angie mentioned, because of the paid membership, because of the referral scheme, because of the exclusivity, we get some great business from it. So, you know, you get what you paid for.
Rajal, we're nearly out of time. We need to flick through the next couple of slides.
Yeah, so we've got the paid networking events. Then we've got the chamber events, so the local chamber of commerce. Oh, actually, let me go here. So the local chamber of commerce, and this is business owners in towns and cities from local businesses, environments that have put the events together. So there's a huge list here they can use as a starting point from here. We've then got the sector specific, so the institutes, the societies, the British Computer Society, construction, property and construction, and then we've got the East Midlands Chamber. I've put a link there for the East Midlands Chamber, and from that link you can get to more focus groups. So they've got groups in on businesses, on construction, on law, whatever it might be as well. So there's some brilliant links there for sites. Then we've got the Leicester-based groups, which are brilliant. You can find replicas of these local to you if you're not from Leicester, but take a look at these links here and have a search. A couple of top takeaways, but I feel as though I might be just reiterating everything I've said. But like I said, be prepared, find the right event for yourself, have your objective in mind, do a dress rehearsal, and yeah, have fun, enjoy being there. One thing we just wanted to touch on.
Shall I do this one?
Yeah, go ahead, Anne, take over.
Yeah, thanks very much, Rajal. I was just a little bit conscious that we were running out of time. We've been talking about digital networking and hybrid networking. Many of you will be aware that before we introduced these webinars in the lockdown, we used to run Leicester Digital, which was our monthly meetup at our office at Frog Island, where we provided free pizza and beer, and cider and wine. Well, as the lockdown rules change, we're going to restart this again. We're going to start on the 1st of June at 6 o'clock. We'll do the first one at the Annika office, unless we can get a sponsor a little bit faster. We're thinking of going to the new venue opposite John Lewis, which is the New Lanes, which is in the old Grand Central. They've got a bowling alley, and it's a lovely venue. And we're just making contact with them to see if we can start there. There's the link there, which is, you can go and do a search on Meetup. I haven't added it in yet, so if you want to join the Leicester Meetup, please do, and then you'll get an email notification. And then the format of this will be that there'll be 2 or 3 short talks. We'll have some guests, we'll have some Annika staff. It's really informal. It's a really sociable event. All the other agencies are welcome to join. It's not really an Annika event, we just organise it. And it will mean that there won't be a webinar that week. What we'll do is, if we can, we'll record the presentations, and then we'll re-present them out on video on the Friday, so you can catch it here. So that was the last of the slides. I think there's just a thank you.
Yes.
You've got Rajel's and Angie's contacts there. I'm sorry I've had to hurry you at the end.
That's fine.
I did just want to bring a couple of things to people's attention. Next Friday's webinar is going to be Gurpreet talking about paid Google Ads. We'll be putting that up on the site later on this afternoon. And that's all to do with conversion tracking and conversion attribution, which is really what you should be doing if you are running Google Ads. A lot of people run Google Ads and just monitor the traffic. So if you've already got Google Ads, or you're thinking of running Google Ads in the future, or Bing Ads, this will be a really important talk for you. Also, the other thing I wanted to mention is that we've just started, we've launched the dates for the next lot of DMI training courses, which starts on the 7th of July. What we're able to do, apart from the 1 day a week, which is on the Wednesday, and buying the full course and signing up for the qualification, we are offering these as single day courses as well. So if any of you are interested, if you click on the link, you can see a lot more data on that page, but also we'll be able to follow up with you as well. So I think that's it. We know that a lot of people leave at exactly 10 o'clock. So I'd just like to thank Rajal and Ange for their brilliant contribution today. It was a really good discussion. Lots of great comments and things there. So if any of you would like to give the girls a nice review, then if you click on the review slide, that's coming up now, and give them a lovely review, that would be greatly appreciated. Have a great bank holiday weekend. Yep. So I'll just pass it over to the girls to say goodbye. So over to you, Ange.
Thanks very much for coming, everyone. Have a great bank holiday, and we'll see you soon.
Rajal?
Yes, thank you very much. I hope you found it insightful. I'm sorry I rambled on a little bit, but if you have any questions about any of the last slides with the list of exhibition events and seminars, drop me an email. My email address is in the chat there. I'll be happy to go through it with you in more detail if needed. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
You will get a video within a couple of hours, and it will also be loaded onto the Annika site. So if you haven't already got the handouts from the top right, you will be able to get the PDF from the Annika site. And I'll just quickly put that link in to the chat, so you can always go and get it later on today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do we just end?
I'm ending it now.
Okay, that's fine.